This is Tea Perfumes Part 2, and despite the fact that I said this would mainly be things that people hadn't heard about, or in fact, you know, stuff that I hadn't heard about and that I hadn't been able to find much information about, particularly things I couldn't find much English language review, many English language reviews of. But I was doing a declutter, and I found this. Actually, I still had it in the box, because this is one that I always intended to sell, but for some reason I hadn't got around to, so this was actually at the back of my cupboard. So I thought I'd quickly get this one out of the way, because it's obviously a tea perfume. This is Elizabeth Arden Green Tea Lavender. As you can see, it's in a lovely, lovely bottle. It's in a really cool, the actual bottle is purple. Isn't that cool? So it looks great. This one for me, it's quite similar to green tea, but I just don't like it as much. So there's no point in me owning this, because wearing this would just make me think, oh, I should have put on green tea. So... But if you like lavender and chamomile, so if you find the original green tea a little bit too citrusy, too bright maybe, and you want something that's a bit more soothing, then you might like this one. Because I don't actually actively dislike this one the way that I have with quite a few of the flankers that I've tried or bought or sold of the Elizabeth Tea Green Tea by Elizabeth Arden. Quite a few of that line I just actively dislike. I don't dislike this one, I just don't like it as much as the original, and it is so similar. So the top notes of this are Amalfi lemon, chamomile, mint and mandarin orange. Middle notes lavender tea, magnolia. Base notes musk, birch, ambret, muskmallow. So I find this one quite similar. I think probably, again, as with the white teas, it's not listing all of the myriad of notes from the original green tea, but this very much smells like the original green tea, a little less citrus, and then the lavender and chamomile. But it's still got a sharpness to it, so it's not like super sweet or anything. So that's that one. So the one we were actually waiting for, and when I say we, I mean me, this is the one that I was waiting for before I made this second part. And this is the other Acqua Colonia that's like a tea edition, a limited tea edition. I think the Matcha Frangipani is a limited tea edition as well, which is a bit of a shame, because I think these are really nice. So this is, again, one of those that doesn't have any other notes listed. That's the bottle, very pretty. Yeah, really nice. This is quite an unusual smell, I think. Maybe this is just what Bergamot smells like when it's not really got anything, well, not too many other notes mixed with it. But I like it, but it's really difficult to describe this one. I imagine, yes, it's very bergamot-y, but it's not massively sharp, this. It's quite sweet. The green tea is not the main note here, I would say. I do like this, but I would say that bergamot is the main note. But it's not bergamot in the way that I've smelt it in a lot of bergamot kind of fragrances. So I think my mum really likes one that's very heavy in the bergamot from, not Neil's Yard, L'Octane. They've got one that's very citrusy and bright, and it's got quite a strong note of bergamot. And I don't really like those, because I don't like the green leaves with a very, very bergamot kind of smell. There's just something about that I never kind of enjoyed. But this one's sweet. It's a bit creamy. If anything, actually, if you'd have told me that this was matcha and not green tea, I'd have been like, oh yeah, that's what that is. But it's really nice. Again, it definitely leans a bit feminine, this one. I think that, I mean, yeah, in the same way that with most of the Acqua Colonias, most of them definitely you could, you know, male, female, either sex could wear this easily. It's kind of genderless in a way, but in a kind of more traditional sense, I think this, because it's quite sweet, leans towards being a bit more feminine. But I really like this one. It's really nice. And again, you don't get any more notes than what it says here. Let me just try and get that focus. Such beautiful bottles. I love these Acqua Colonia bottles. They're one of my favourite bottles in my collection, to be honest. I think they're beautiful. But anyway, yeah, so this just says green tea and bergamot. It should be bergamot and green tea, because, yeah, bergamot is definitely the stronger bit here. Let's see if we can get that back in focus again. Lovely. So, next on the list. What should we go for? Okay, I'm going to go for the ones that I don't think I'm going to keep in my collection now. Because, let's start with this guy. Yeah. So, if you've watched any of my what I've worn last week videos, you'll have seen a few of the Vera Wang embraces because I have all 5 of them. This is still in its box because this is the only one of the 5 that I do not like. And oddly, it's the only one of the 5 that I was totally sure I would like, which I guess is sometimes the way. This is the original cap. So this is what these actually look like. The other ones that I've got have caps that I've put on myself because they were tester bottles. This was a tester bottle as well, but I have which was the one that I've got? The lavender one that I've got from this range. You can't get tester bottles of those. You can only buy them for full price, about £15. So that came with this. So I've swapped out those lids so that if I sell this, the person gets like an original lid. But this one is just so much sharper than I was expecting. This is Vera Wang Embrace Green Tea and Pear Blossom. And I was hoping for more pear and I was hoping for more green tea. But to me, this is a white blossom smell that's not very sweet. And so that's what I mean when all the other Embrace perfumes are quite sweet and creamy and fluffy. They've got that fuzzy feel about them that makes you want to like hug them. Or actually, if you wear perfumes to bed, they're perfect for bed. This one, not so much. This one doesn't do much on my skin either. And again, this might be a skin chemistry one. From the bottle, I think it smells a bit sharp. It smells like pear blossom. It doesn't really smell much like pear, the fruit. But it doesn't really dry down into being much of a muchness for me. And yeah, I'm just not mad for this one. I'm just going to find the notes real quickly. I have it here. So the top notes of this are pear blossom, green tea and bergamot. The middle notes are peony, freesia, orange blossom. Base notes, musk, cedar and sandalwood. And I mean, I only just sprayed this on the paper and it's already nearly disappeared. It's quite weak, this one, but a lot of the reviews really love it. And I think part of what they like about it is it's a very light, summery fragrance. And it is that. It's just a little bit too sharp white flowers for me. It's just not sweet enough. It's kind of pretty if you like that kind of thing, but I wanted more pear. Don't get much pear. I get pear blossom and peony is the main thing I smell here. I'm not getting much of a green tea vibe from this at all. But again, that might be because it needs the right skin chemistry to really bloom, and I think it's just not really working for me. But yeah, so that one is, you can get this, again, you can get this for maybe £5. You can get testers from Direct Cosmetics. So if you do want to test it out, because a lot of other people do like this, I think I might be one of the outliers here. So maybe it's just not working for me. But anyway, so that one's probably going to leave my collection. And then this one, which is nice, but I'm thinking about this one at the moment. This is United Dreams by United Colours of Benetton. And this one's called Live Free. So this is the tea perfume from that collection. This one's really nice, but I think it leans a bit masculine on me. I think that's the problem that I have with this one. I really like the bottle. Again, you can get these for maybe £12, probably cheaper. I'm going to find the notes and then I will tell you about it. I've got so many perfumes to show you that I have a lot of notes here. Okay, so it says this is for women, but honestly, talk about United Benetton missing a trick. They definitely could have put this one to be unisex. They really, really could. So the notes on this, top notes, tea, bergamot, green apple and yuzu. Middle notes, orange blossom, cardamom and cyclamen. Base notes, musk, cedar and amber. And I think the cardamom and the cedar here are relatively strong. And I think they come through quite strongly. So even on the votes, the cedar is above the yuzu, above the cyclamen, above the amber. So yeah, I think this one's just got a little bit too much cedary smell. And it's a tiny bit sharp for me. But this is one where I'm probably going to have to test it out again on my skin to see whether I can kind of get past that cedariness. But the question for me, of course, is always, because I have so many tea perfumes, do I actually need this one? And the answer to that is probably no, because I've got tons. So if they're not speaking to me, then there's not really much point. But I really like this bottle. If you can see, it's got a really cool lid. It's got this kind of ribbon wrapped around it. I really like them. And there's a few of these. I've tried a couple of... I've got another Benetton perfume that I was really excited about, but also dries down on me into a weird woody smell, and I don't know whether they just use some kind... I hear people talking about pencil shavings a lot, and I wonder if that's what I'm sensing, that there's like a synthetic wood note that lots of perfumers use, especially in the cheaper perfumes, that just goes a bit weird on my skin, and I have a feeling that Benetton might be one of those. So if you have a problem with that, that might not be for you, but if you don't have that kind of problem, this is a really bargainous, very fresh, summery tea perfume, and you can smell the tea in this one, unlike this one, which I just don't find smells very tea-like at all. I think you can smell it in this one much better. Yeah. But anyway, so that's United Dreams. Now, where am I with all of this? Oh, I've got so many things here. What are we doing next? Oh, let's do this one because I have already spoken about this, but it's one of my favourites. This is a bit of an outlier because you can definitely smell the tea in this, definitely. It has an aromatic freshness that's just watery and clean and beautiful, but it is, out of all of these, the kind of freshest and cleanest, like literally like you've just washed all your clothes and, you know, taken them out of the washer, like you're wearing all freshly laundered clothes. I think that's what this smells like a little bit. So this is one of my favourite... Oh, it's so nice. Let me just smell. Oh, it's fruity. It's peachy, this one. This is, if you can see, very lovely. Jill Sander, Sport Water for women. Beautiful colour, matches my room, which always makes me happy. Let's get that back in focus. You got it. So this one, it's peachy, it's yummy, it's watery, it's fresh. It's like... yeah, it's like being... I think a lot of Jill Sander perfumes, there's something about them that's like being at a pool. I think she's really nailed that kind of holiday next to a pool, sunbathing, going for a swim, kind of that kind of vibe to a lot of her perfumes, actually. I don't like a lot of the Sun perfumes, but that's still the vibe for them, even the ones I don't like. So this guy... again, I think this is quite unisex, to be honest. It's not it doesn't lean, it doesn't really veer in either direction, but I think it's very much Elizabeth Arden green tea style. I think any gender could wear this because it just smells so fresh and clean. But some people, I think because it doesn't have anything really obviously feminine in it, they're not mad for it and they think it smells slightly masculine, but I don't agree with that at all. And I, you know, as you can tell, I'm quite fussy about these things. But yeah, maybe if you wore it when you were feeling super girly, that wouldn't be the right thing to wear. But the top notes in this are yuzu, peach and green leaves. The middle notes are jasmine, tea and rose. The base notes are ambrette, woody notes and amber. It's not very woody. You don't get a massive sense for the amber, I don't think, only a little bit. That musk mallow, I think, is just making it just smooth and lovely and just comforting. The tea makes it magically comforting and aromatic. I don't really sense the jasmine and the rose. I don't think this is a very floral perfume. I think the peach, green leaves, tea and the musk mallow are probably what's really shining here. And it's just watery. It's not like a syrupy peach, but it isn't sharp either. It's a perfect balance. It's really nice. I love this one. It's one of the few that I have a backup bottle of because I really love it. And once I go spraying, I go a bit ham with it. But it's super fresh and I really recommend that one. I love it. What's next? Okay, let's do this tall weirdo. This perfume is so random. This is, on the bottle, it says Cafe Puro. On Fragrantica, it's called Cafe Green. As you can see, it's a really long bottle. It's quite hard to get in. But it's unusual, this perfume. But it's nice. And I'm not the only person who's bought this for an absolute steal and then gone, oh wow, okay, that's like really nice. It's actually quite impressive. I think this cost me, I'm not even joking, about £3. Is this 50 mil for about £3? So Cafe, I guess is they're called Cafe Perfumes, but their little symbol is Cafe. Puro, which I assume means green because it's called Cafe, referred to as Cafe Green. And the notes in this are: top notes, bergamot, mandarin orange, pear and peach. Middle notes, tea, jasmine and rose. And the base notes are musk and Virginia cedar. And this one's really a bit hard to describe because this one it's got a vibe of Elizabeth Arden green tea, but it's also, if you told me there was matcha in this as well, I'd believe you, because there's something kind of creamy, slightly powdery about it. It's almost like the love child of my two Acqua Colonia tea perfumes, so the matcha frangipani, the bergamot and green tea, and then Elizabeth Arden green tea. It's a really good kind of in between all of those. There's a lot of bergamot in it, definitely. When you first spray it, it's got a slightly strange smell, I think because of that. But then it dries down. I think you get a little bit more of the rose. I don't think this is massively jasmine-y. You get a lot of tea with this. It's definitely musky. I'm not getting loads of cedar at all. I can't really detect the cedar in this one. But the fruits in this are super sweet. So it's quite a sweet pear and peach, I think, that's making this so sweet. And again, when you first smell it, when you first spray it, it's a bit like, oh, it's okay. And then it dries down and it gets much sweeter. It gets a bit more intense. And this one really lasts quite impressively well. And a lot of the other reviews of this have said the same thing, that this lasts well. And people can't believe how cheap it is. And I guess no one ever talks about it. These are coffee beans on it, which is obviously a bit funny on a tea perfume. But yeah, it's definitely strong in the bergamot when you first smell this one, in a way that's why it smells a bit like this. But then it dries down into more of a creamy matcha-y kind of smell, but the underlying kind of smell has a bit of a similarity to it in Elizabeth Arden green tea. So it's really somewhere in between all of them. And it's very fresh and bright, good for summer, but it's really comforting, this perfume. I think it's really nice. I'm really amazed that this was such a cheap one, you know, because I mainly bought it. I saw the bottle and I was like, that looks like it might be up my street. Went and bought it for a ridiculously cheap price because it had tea in it. And I really think it's impressive. Yeah. If you come across this one, I really recommend it. I think it's quite an impressive perfume and it's cheap everywhere. Like everywhere I've seen this, it's super cheap. And I think I've never heard anything about it. I've never heard anyone talk about Cafe at all, to be honest. Yeah, I really like it. So now we've got, I'm going to have to move things around again, I think. Let's push this guy over here. Can you actually see that? Yay! We've got 3 of these perfumes. I'll start with the one I've already talked about in a different video. Oh, the heaven of this. This is by the company called Brocard. I really like Brocard. I used to wear one of their perfumes as my signature scent for many, many years. And so when they had the tea perfumes, which was a set of 4, Brocard my cup of tea, I had to try them, obviously. And I used to be able to buy Brocard perfumes directly from Russia, from Russian sellers on eBay, but that is not possible at the moment. So please don't hate me if you can't get hold of these. You can, if you're in the UK, you can buy a couple of these are still available in full size from Bloom Perfumery. Which is a London-based niche perfume company that sell Brocard, or at least did. I don't know if they're still able to actually get any of their products, but they have samples though of all of them if you want to smell the samples. If you just want to smell them, you don't think you want to hold, because you can only get these in 100ml. They're big bottles. Anyway, enough about that. This is the favourite I've got of the big bottles. This is Sweet Home. This smells identical to a Tea People loose leaf tea that my partner and I have, that's called Cherry Black, and that is from Tea People, which is a London tea company. It just smells delicious, and to me this smells like apart from the fact it smells exactly like that tea we refer to as our cherry bakewell tea. So it has a kind of slight creaminess. It's sweet. I think it smells cherryish. I think it smells like a cherry bakewell. So I think it smells slightly almondy, slightly sweet. It's just lovely. And the notes in this one, let's see if I can get this up. Again, they don't have, none of these are listed as top, middle and base notes, so I'll just give you what's on Fragrantica. So the notes in this are black tea, red berries, raspberry leaf, cinnamon, blackcurrant leaf, vanilla, peach, vetiver and bergamot. And, you know, like I said, it just has, to me, a slightly sweet but tart cherry vibe. It's got a lot of black tea. It really smells like a cup of tea, slightly sweetened by the vanilla, little bit fruity. Cinnamon is probably what's taking it over into that kind of baked goods smell. I love it. I love this. And I literally, when I when I first got this, I sprayed it onto a little bit of paper and I gave it to my partner and I said, what does this smell like? And he literally said, oh, that smells like our cherry black tea. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what it smells like. So I love that one. And if you can get hold of it, this is the one that I recommend the most. This is the one I like best. Sometimes people have it on eBay. Actually, it's not the one I like best, but I'll talk about that in a sec. Yeah, you can get it from Bloom. You can sometimes get it on eBay. Hopefully, when we get rid of the sanctions about the Russian Federation, hopefully we'll be able to get that again. So then we've got My Cup of Tea Dark Delight. I'm really running out of space here. Oh dear. Let's try and, I'm just really pushing it now. So Dark Delight, I think of this as the winter tea perfume. This one is very sweet. And it's not really sweet in a vanilla-y way, this one. This one is not as easy for me to wear as this one because it is very, very sweet. It's like sweet in a jam way. So Dark Delight is, this is what's really weird. I look at the notes for Dark Delight and I don't understand why it smells the way it does. Because apparently the notes in this are black tea, osmanthus, sorbet, lemon, jasmine sambac, amber, musk, sandalwood, magnolia and freesia. But I think this smells like some kind of berry jam, like tea and some kind of really sweet berry jam. I don't recognise why these notes smell this way. In fact, to the point where I'm just going to double check I haven't done the wrong one. No, definitely. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the way that people have voted. Apparently, osmanthus and black tea, sorbet and lemon are the things that are at the top of this, but honestly, I think this smells jammy. I think it smells really, really jammy. More so than the other ones that I think actually have berries in. Yeah. Someone else has reviewed this and said this smells like berries have been added. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the first spray, and the other reviewer also said the same thing. First spray is a bit like, whoa, okay. And then it dries down a bit. Yeah. It's got it's definitely got a berryish smell, that one. And I think, you know, it's actually, this is a purple box and this is the purple, kind of the purple My Cup of Tea. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are berries in this and Fragrantica have just got it horrifically wrong. But anyway, so that's that one. And then, now, this one I got recently because I already had these and I had the tester for the one that sadly I cannot get, but is actually my favourite. But this one, because I was making this, I wanted to try this guy as well. So this is the 5 o'clock. Let's take this out of the box. This is in the box because I love it, but it doesn't love my skin. So, oh, this is really nice. This is lemon and, well, citrus, but specifically lemon and vanilla. And I love the smell of this in the box and on the card. It's absolutely delicious. It literally smells like citrus tea and vanilla. That's what it smells like. It doesn't really, and it's relatively linear as well. So this one, the notes are vanilla, black tea, bergamot, lemon, lavender, tonka bean, musk, freesia and lily of the valley. And this has the same effect on my skin that the, what's it called? sunny seaside of Zanzibar, the Acqua Colonia Intense that I bought and I absolutely adored, which is also a very vanilla-y based perfume. And that went antiseptic on my skin and smelled like TCP. This one isn't quite as extreme. I wouldn't say it was full TCP, but this one smells antiseptic on my skin as well. So there's something, it must be the vanilla. I've not really read that from anyone else, but there must be something about the mixture of fruit with a certain type of vanilla that's in those two perfumes. Both of which are from Europe. One's from Russia, one's German. Oh, in the bottle it smells like heaven, and on my skin it doesn't, and it's a real shame. So I think I'm going to have to sell it because I've tried it quite a few times. It always goes antiseptic on me, and the antiseptic smell, with the same with Zanzibar, lasts on me too long. However, most reviews I've seen of this, nobody else seems to be saying that. Yeah, so I think that's my skin. I don't judge it from me. I happen to know that Sarah Mace has this perfume. I think this is the only Brocard that she has in her collection. But she loves this perfume. She put it in one of hers recently, in one of her very recent videos, in fact. It's citrus and it's vanilla. It's really, really pretty. Citrus, vanilla and tea. So this you can still get from Bloom Perfumery. It's about £35 for 100ml, so it's quite affordable. It's not too bad. It's not cheap by any means. Again, if you could get this direct from Russian sellers, it would be like 15 quid, but not possible at the moment. However, if you like the sound of a tea perfume that is a lemon vanilla and quite sweet, like it's obvious vanilla, but it's not cloying. It's really it's perfect. If this worked on my skin, I'd wear it all the time, but sadly it doesn't, so that's not one I'm going to be able to keep. Okay, we're into our teeny weeny ones now. Let's get... Okay. So Florever is a lovely perfume I've spoken about before. This is by... Let me just bring this up here so you can see it. There we go. Florever by Agatha Ruiz de la Prada. Now, this perfume is yummy. I like it a lot. I think it's great. And it's jasmine-y to my nose, even though the notes don't say anything about jasmine. So that's weird. But sometimes these things happen. Sometimes you get a vibe for something and it doesn't match the notes. I find often that's because, you know, it's just not right on Fragrantica. And other times it's just what my nose is doing, what other people's nose is doing. So this perfume, I think, is one of the more unusual smelling ones, tea-wise. Oh, and I really love it. And what I said in my video when I talked about this was that there's something about the vibe of this that reminds me of Cabotin de Grès. But if Cabotin de Grès, the original green one, if that was a super light version, like a mega summer version of that, and it also had tea in it, I think this is the kind of smell you'd get. So this has top notes of yuzu and tea, middle notes of wildflower, magnolia, ginger and pink pepper, base notes of musk, hinoki wood, cedar and amber. I'm not getting a massive amount of cedar, but I suspect I'm getting some of that hinoki wood, which is maybe one of the things that's making this unusual. I imagine that there's jasmine in this wildflower because I definitely get a jasmine vibe. But because of the yuzu, the ginger and the tea, it's being saved from being like really overpowering and headache inducing, which is what I get with a lot of perfumes that I think smell like jasmine. So I think this is absolutely delicious. It's maybe 15 quid for 50ml, about 20 quid for 80ml. I absolutely love it. It's so fresh. It's the ginger and the jasmine-y kind of vibe of this is what reminds me of Cabotin de Grès. And I liked that perfume, but I couldn't wear it because it was way too strong and too jasmine forward. Again, you know, I'd love it on other people. I wouldn't be able to wear it. So I feel like this is kind of, you know, the fuss pot version of getting that kind of scent profile. So that's that one. Oh, this one is so heavenly. Oh, this is a little perfume oil. This is called, it's green tea and it's by Al Rehab. So this is a little 6ml. This causes such a fantastic scent memory for me because this is the smell of my mum's homemade squash, like fruit cordial. She calls it St. Clements cordial. Actually, she called it summer squash is what she calls it. She used to make it for me when I was young because I was allergic to E numbers, and therefore I couldn't have any of the kind of Robinson's fruit drinks, that kind of thing. So she used to make her own squash for me because she's, you know, awesome in every way. I then continued to make that as an adult. So sometimes in summer I do make it, and it is just the taste of summer for me. Also the smell of summer. And that is exactly what this perfume smells like, but with like an underlying green tea vibe. Now, St. Clements is basic. The very simple recipe of it is lemon zest, orange zest, juice, orange juice, a ton of sugar, some citric acid, and boiling water. And that is exactly what this smells like. It's very sugary and very zesty, citrusy heaven. It genuinely smells exactly like that. And then the more it dries down, you do get a little bit of a vibe for the green tea, but this is super, super citrusy. And I love it. I just love this one. It's so beautiful. It's really simple. Glorious. It's just glorious. I don't really have much more to say about it than that because that is exactly what it is. It reminds me of an orange and lemon St. Clements cordial squash, like a sugary squash, but with a little bit of green tea added in. It's lovely, really lovely. You could probably layer it with all kinds of things. So that one's lovely, lovely, lovely. Then we have, oh, this one's super random. I've still got this in the little box. This is Jesus del Pozo. It's called Ambar. Now, this is one that I bought partly because it came up in a search for tea perfumes. And also just because the bottle is really cool. Look at that bottle. Isn't it cute? You can't really see it very well, so I'm just going to bring it up. So this is the bottle. Very lovely. If I can put it somewhere you can actually see it. Yeah. Now, with a name like Amber, you'd expect this to be very maybe wintry or strong. Oh, I forgot to do the notes of Al Rehab, didn't I? I'm so silly. Let me just quickly rewind. Oh, it says green tea and citrus. All right, I didn't need to do the notes. Green tea and citrus, that's exactly what it smells like. So, yeah, so the Ambar, the notes in this are top notes of cardamom, tangerine and bergamot, middle notes of tea, iris and peony, base notes of amber, sage and Virginia cedar. It's really subtle, this. It's pretty much a skin scent. It's like, it's got a ambery vibe to it. You can definitely sense that there's some kind of amber, cedar, sage, and cardamom as well. It's almost like this would have been a winter perfume, but they went, let's make it super light and add some citrus and some tea. And it's a really interesting fragrance because of that. I'm not entirely convinced that I need a full bottle of this. This is just a little miniature. This came from eBay. And I do like it, but it's like a summer amber perfume. It's a summer... I mean, if you could almost imagine something like Obsession for Calvin Klein, Obsession by Calvin Klein. If that was like... If they made a very summer version of that also had a tea note, then I think it would have this kind of vibe to it. It's not excessively woody, but you can tell that there's an unusual vibe going on with this perfume. So if you really like woody, ambery, wintry perfumes, but you find that they're too heavy either for you or other people in the summer, then this might be quite a safe bet and like a good shout for you. It's so lovely, honestly. It's absolutely delicious. But whether I need it in my collection is another matter. I might continue to test out this little tiny miniature, and if I fall in love with it, then I might get a bottle. Because again, this is like super affordable. They're like maybe between 10 and 15 quid for a 50ml, and the bottle is just awesome. So that one is Ambar by Jesus del Pozo, or Jesus del Pozo. I don't know how that would normally be pronounced because I don't know where this person or this name is from. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is the one that kind of breaks my heart, and I've only got this tiny baby little sample of it here. This is the last one of the 4 from My Cup of Tea by Brocard, and this is the one that's called Early Morning. Oh my god, I love this perfume, and it's so upsetting that I can't get this. I can't get it from anywhere. This is from Bloom Perfumery. This is the little tester is from Bloom Perfumery, and the notes in this, I'll read them, but then I'll just tell you exactly what I think it smells like. So, Tea Rituals Lazy Morning. Top notes: ginger, grapefruit, green tea, lemon and orange. Heart notes: blackcurrant, Indian jasmine, lavender, lily of the valley, peach, raspberry and rose. Base notes: guacwood, again I never know how to say that, and musk. And to me, this smells like a tart lemon tea. So this literally smells like a cup of green tea with actual slices of fresh lemon in it, while you're sitting outside on a chilly, dewy spring morning with some fresh cut roses right next to you. I think this might be the most natural fresh cut rose smell I've ever smelt. I just don't know how they've managed to do it. But it's so lovely, and I'm so gutted, genuinely heartbroken that I cannot buy this perfume. The reason I've chucked it in here at the end is just so, you know, I can talk about this whole range. This, if I had it, would be my 100% my absolute favourite one, but because I don't, like, this is my favourite from the Brocard My Cup of Tea. This one is my favourite of the ones I've actually got in a big bottle. And then, like I said, the vanilla one would definitely be my one of my faves if it worked on my skin. And then the Dark Delight is maybe the one that's the most difficult for me to wear, and I can only really wear it in really cold weather because it's so sweet, syrupy, and kind of berryish. But this, honestly, I just think it's so gorgeous. It's so gutted that I can't get it. I honestly, green tea, fresh slices of lemon, fresh roses, maybe just a pinch of sugar as well, because it's not horrifically well, I mean, I don't like massively sweet perfumes, but compared to a lot of other perfumes, especially compared to the Brocard My Cup of Tea, it's the sharpest one. It's the most gentle, natural one. It's the lightest, singiest and freshest of all of them. It's so up my street. It would be my favourite rose perfume if I had it as well. So, you know, sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes you can't get everything you want. That's the only one that I couldn't get that I really want. Everything else, I think I've covered everything. So many perfumes. So, yeah, so I think I'll be getting rid of the Vera Wang, the green tea lavender and the United Dreams. But apart from that, oh yeah, and probably, so sad, and the vanilla Brocard one, which is really upsetting. But everything else I'm keeping. I probably have maybe 10, 15 tea perfumes in my collection. I'm probably not allowed to buy any more because it is excessive otherwise. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful, or you found something you haven't tried before and you're interested in. So yeah, that's the end of my tea perfume odyssey.